Welcome to this audio press release, powered by IBN. This original production delivers market and sector insights, as well as executive interviews with innovative executives shaping the future in fast-moving industries, and may feature a client partner of IBN, or one of the 75-plus investor-focused brands within IBN's dynamic brand portfolio. As a multifaceted financial news and publishing company, IBN leverages an extensive distribution network, utilizing multiple proprietary corporate communication tools to introduce both public and private companies to a vast and diverse audience of investors, consumers, influencers, journalists, and other targeted segments of the public. IBN may have received compensation to produce this audio content. Please be sure to read IBN's entire disclaimers for full disclosures. This article has been disseminated on behalf of American Fusion Incorporated and may include a paid advertisement. Headline: American Fusion Incorporated advances compact fusion for energy security and grid independence. The United States military is the largest single institutional consumer of oil on the planet, and that dependency has become one of the most serious strategic vulnerabilities in modern defense. Every gallon that reaches a forward base must travel through a supply chain that can be disrupted, intercepted, or destroyed. Multiple critical civilian sectors face a parallel problem. Construction, desalination, space exploration, and telecommunications all operate in environments where reliable high-density power is either unavailable or dangerously exposed. American Fusion Incorporated, through its wholly owned subsidiary, Kepler Fusion, is developing the Texatron, a compact, aneutronic, meaning little to no radiation, truck-deployable fusion engine, designed to produce anywhere from 0.5 megawatts to over 100 megawatts of clean power, without turbines, steam cycles, or vulnerable fuel supply chains. The company is working to commercialize a technology that, if successful, could transform energy from a logistical liability into a self-contained, on-site asset for both military and civilian operators. American Fusion is among other leading companies, including NextEra Energy Inc, Constellation Energy Corporation, Bloom Energy Corporation, and BWX Technologies Inc, that are involved in sectors that support the modernization of energy, infrastructure, and national resilience. The scale of the U.S. military's petroleum dependency is striking. American Fusion is currently advancing its 5-megawatt pre-production Texatron model through testing and validation, with engineering and production already underway for future 10-megawatt and 20-megawatt systems. The same energy problems that afflict the military are present across a wide range of civilian sectors, and American Fusion's power-as-a-service commercial model is designed to serve multiple verticals without requiring customers to absorb full capital ownership costs up front. The Texatron system generates electricity directly by exerting pressure on its own magnetic field, eliminating the turbine and steam cycle steps entirely. The global energy landscape is undergoing a structural shift away from centralized, grid-dependent power toward distributed, high-density energy systems capable of operating independently of fixed infrastructure. A fuel dependency that costs lives and billions. The scale of the U.S. military's petroleum dependency is striking. Reports indicate that U.S. armed forces consume approximately 4.6 billion gallons of fuel per year. If the Pentagon were a country, it would rank among the top 60 oil-consuming nations on Earth. The Air Force is the largest fuel consumer within the U.S. Department of Defense, consuming approximately 2 billion gallons of aviation fuel annually, accounting for roughly 81% of its total energy budget. Estimates in other analyses place that figure as high as 2.4 to 2.6 billion gallons, depending on the fiscal year and operational tempo. That demand doesn't pause during a geopolitical crisis. The recent disruption to oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz exposed what defense analysts have warned about for years. The machines that project American force are the same machines most vulnerable to fuel supply disruption. A U.S. Naval Institute Proceedings article warned that in a future Pacific conflict, the entire fuel logistics chain, from forward units back to U.S. refineries, would be exposed to attack at every point. The 2022 National Defense Strategy identifies energy resilience as a priority. The DoD is actively seeking technologies that reduce petroleum dependency, limit convoy requirements, and deliver reliable power to forward operating bases without fixed supply lines. American Fusion's Texatron fusion engine represents an ambitious effort to develop a platform capable of addressing portions of that future demand. While the technology remains under development, the company's focus on modular design, transportability, and distributed power generation reflects trends that are reshaping both defense and civilian energy markets. On-site power that removes danger from the equation. The case for compact fusion in a defense context is straightforward. Every fuel convoy that doesn't need to run is a convoy that can't be attacked. Every forward base that generates its own power doesn't need a petroleum supply chain. The operational and financial logic of energy independence compounds quickly at scale. Electric Choice's analysis of military energy consumption notes that fuel delivery in remote combat zones can cost as much as $400 per gallon when all delivery costs are included. Removing that cost, along with the risk that comes with it, transforms energy from a recurring logistics burden into a one-time capital investment. The Texatron is designed to enable exactly this shift. According to Kepler Fusion, the system uses a fast-pulsed torsatron design to generate electricity directly from charged particles, exerting pressure against magnetic fields. This direct energy conversion approach eliminates the need for turbines and steam cycles that make traditional power systems large, complex, and vulnerable. In addition, the Texatron burns deuterium-helium-3 fuel, an aneutronic fuel combination that produces minimal to no radiation and requires significantly less shielding than conventional nuclear approaches. The result is a system compact enough to be truck-deployable, scalable through modular stacking, and capable of producing up to hundreds of megawatts of clean power per unit, enough to power a forward operating base, a naval installation, or a mobile command center. American Fusion is currently advancing its 5-megawatt pre-production Texatron model through testing and validation, with engineering and production already underway for a 10-megawatt and 20-megawatt system. The company's technology roadmap outlines current development activities that include facility expansion in North Texas, continued pre-production development, ongoing patent filings, planned testing activities, and university collaboration discussions. The company's engineering objective include continuing pulse fusion testing this summer while working toward higher performance testing milestones later this year, along with continuing development toward a deployable Texatron platform subject to successful testing, financing, engineering, and regulatory progress. In addition, American Fusion has made intellectual property development a central component of its long-term business strategy. The company's patent efforts span multiple technical disciplines, including plasma confinement, electromagnetic field generation, reactor architecture, energy conversion, fuel delivery systems, diagnostics, controls, manufacturing methods, and modular deployment concepts. While patent applications are subject to examination by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, with no guarantees of issuance, American Fusion anticipates its patent portfolio to continue expanding substantially as development progresses. One technology, many markets beyond defense. The same energy problems that afflict the military, unreliable supply, high delivery cost, vulnerability to disruption, etc., are present across a wide range of civilian sectors. If compact fusion technology can be successfully developed and commercialized, it could contribute to a number of long-term national priorities, including improved military energy resilience, reduced dependence on vulnerable fuel logistics, enhanced critical infrastructure reliability, support for AI-driven industrial growth, increased energy security, reduced emissions from certain applications, and strengthened domestic advanced manufacturing. Each of these represents a distinct addressable market with its own demand curve and procurement pathway. The global energy market is undergoing a structural shift driven by AI infrastructure build-out alone. Goldman Sachs research estimates that data center power demand will grow 160% by 2030 driven primarily by AI workloads. The International Energy Agency projects that global data center electricity consumption will more than double by 2030, potentially consuming as much electricity as the entire nation of Japan does today. This surge in demand for high-density, reliable, always-on power extends well beyond data centers. It is reshaping every industry where energy is a critical input. American Fusion's power-as-a-service commercial model is designed to serve multiple verticals without requiring customers to absorb full capital ownership costs up front. The company has identified data centers and industrial customers as primary commercial targets alongside defense applications. This multi-sector strategy reduces the company's dependence on any single customer vertical and creates multiple independent pathways to commercialization. If the technology succeeds in one market, it generates both revenue and operational data that can accelerate adoption in adjacent markets. The fusion energy market is projected to grow from approximately $288 billion in 2025 to $311 billion in 2026, at a compound annual growth rate of 8%, according to the business research company, with the market expected to reach $419.84 billion by 2030. Separate analysis from Maximize Market Research projects growth at a 7.4% compound annual growth rate through 2032, while Market Research Future forecasts a higher-end compound annual growth rate of 19.38% through 2034 for the emerging commercial fusion segment. That range reflects a market moving from theoretical interest to active commercial investment as multiple fusion approaches advance toward demonstration. Direct conversion, efficiency that changes the math. Most power generation systems, whether coal, natural gas, nuclear fission, or conventional fusion approaches, convert fuel into heat, heat into steam, and steam into mechanical rotation before finally producing electricity. Each conversion step introduces thermodynamic losses. The overall efficiency of traditional thermal power generation typically ranges from 33% to 45%, meaning more than half the energy in the original fuel is lost before it reaches the end user. This fundamental inefficiency has been accepted as an engineering constraint for more than a century. The Texatron is designed around a fundamentally different approach. The system generates electricity directly by exerting pressure on its own magnetic field, eliminating the turbine and steam cycle steps entirely. This direct energy conversion approach theoretically enables efficiencies exceeding 90%, more than double what conventional thermal power generation achieves. If realized at commercial scale, that efficiency gap has profound implications for both cost structure and physical footprint. A system that may convert more than 90% of its fuel energy into usable electricity needs far less fuel input to produce the same power output as a conventional system. It generates less waste heat. It requires less cooling infrastructure. It can be built smaller and lighter for equivalent power output. For military applications, where weight, size, and logistical simplicity are operational requirements rather than preferences, these characteristics translate directly into deployment flexibility that conventional power systems cannot match. The Texatron also benefits from its simple coil architecture. Unlike tokamaks or stellarators, the dominant fusion approaches pursued by larger research programs, the torsatron design uses twisted, donut-shaped coils with electric currents running in the same direction, minimizing electromagnetic stress and simplifying construction. Kepler Fusion notes that prototype version 9 has already been tested in Texas, with more testing to be done this summer. The simpler coil design supports modularity and scalability in ways that more complex confinement geometries do not. American Fusion's target of fitting many models in the back of a pickup truck reflects the practical outcome of this design philosophy, applied to a problem that has historically required enormous facilities. Distributed power is the future. Fusion fits the moment. The global energy landscape is undergoing a structural shift away from centralized, grid-dependent power toward distributed, high-density energy systems capable of operating independently of fixed infrastructure. This shift is being driven simultaneously by AI infrastructure build-out, geopolitical instability, climate-related grid disruptions, and the expanding operational requirements of autonomous military systems. The McKinsey report on U.S. energy demand describes a new era in which energy demand growth is no longer gradual or predictable, but driven by rapid, concentrated surges from AI, electrification, and industrial reshoring. The ICF analysis on rapid demand growth similarly identifies the mismatch between conventional grid investment timelines and the speed at which new demand is materializing. Grid transmission projects can take years to permit and years more to build. Centralized power infrastructure cannot respond at the pace that modern industrial and defense customers require. In addition, future military operations are increasingly dependent on autonomous systems, persistent surveillance, and distributed command and control networks. Each of these capabilities requires reliable, long-duration power. Future conflicts will be increasingly unmanned and robotic, with unmanned surface vehicles, ground vehicles, and aerial systems leading the charge. While American Fusion is a pre-revenue company in the technology development phase, the market conditions that would reward successful commercialization have never been more clearly defined. The DoD has a documented, budget-backed mandate to reduce petroleum dependency. Civilian energy markets are experiencing demand surges that existing infrastructure cannot absorb at the pace required, and the fusion energy sector is attracting serious institutional interest as multiple approaches advance toward demonstration milestones. American Fusion, with its differentiated aneutronic approach, its modular design philosophy, and its growing IP portfolio, is building toward a market that is becoming more valuable with each passing quarter. Should these engineering objectives ultimately be realized through successful testing, validation, and commercialization, compact fusion could become an important addition to the portfolio of technologies supporting future military readiness, industrial growth, and national energy resilience. Energy infrastructure powers the future. The energy sector continues to evolve as companies invest in larger-scale infrastructure, expand reliable generation capacity, and pursue strategic initiatives designed to meet rising electricity demand. Recent developments highlight a growing emphasis on strengthening grid resilience, advancing low-carbon energy technologies, and supporting the rapid expansion of power-intensive industries, reinforcing the critical role of energy infrastructure in the global economy. NextEra Energy Inc. has entered into a definitive agreement with Dominion Energy Inc. to combine in an all-stock transaction. According to the announcement, the combination will create the world's largest regulated electric utility business, fortified by North America's premier energy infrastructure platform and developer. The combined company will be more than 80% regulated, serve approximately 10 million utility customer accounts across Florida, Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, and own 110 gigawatts of generation across a broad mix of energy sources. Constellation Energy Corporation, through its business unit Calpine, announced the completion of a 25-megawatt expansion project at the Geysers geothermal complex located in California. The addition builds on Calpine's continued investments in the geysers to support California's renewable energy goals and follows the completion of a 38-megawatt energy storage system at the site in 2024. The new capacity will generate enough electricity to power over 25,000 homes each year. Bloom Energy Corporation is expanding its partnership with Oracle to support the rapid build-out of its AI and cloud computing infrastructure. Under a master services agreement, Oracle intends to procure up to 2.8 gigawatts of Bloom's fuel cell systems. As part of this agreement, an initial 1.2 gigawatts of capacity has been contracted, with deployment underway and continuing into next year. Bloom's fuel cells will support Oracle projects in the United States and help meet demand for its cutting-edge cloud infrastructure. BWX Technologies Inc. reported that its triso-nuclear fuel has powered Antares Nuclear Incorporated's reactor through the first successful criticality milestone under the administration's Executive Order 43301. BWXT also process the high-assay, low-enriched uranium feedstock material used to manufacture the Antares Triso fuel compacts from scrap materials provided by NNSA, underscoring the company's leadership across the full spectrum of next-generation fuel production and marking a historic milestone for advanced nuclear fuel fabrication in the United States. These key announcements reflect a broader transformation across the energy landscape, where long-term investments in generation, transmission, and advanced technologies are reshaping how power is produced and delivered. As demand continues to grow, driven by electrification, digital infrastructure, and economic expansion, companies with scalable, dependable energy solutions are expected to play an increasingly important role in supporting future growth. For more information, visit American Fusion. This audio press release is an original content production powered by IBN, a multifaceted financial news and publishing company that delivers next-generation corporate communication solutions utilizing proprietary corporate communication tools such as news aggregation, syndication, social communication, and brand awareness techniques, among others. IBN introduces both public and private companies to diverse audiences to enhance reach and recognition. IBN may receive compensation for services and solutions provided to its client partners. The owners, officers, and directors of IBN, or any of its financial analysts mentioned in this production, do not hold positions in and do not intend to trade the securities of any IBN client partners' companies. This production is not an offer or recommendation to buy or sell any securities that may be mentioned in this production. The information in this broadcast is presented solely for informative purposes and is not intended to be, or should it be construed as investment advice. As in all investments, investment in the featured companies carries inherent investment risk. Listeners should review the company thoroughly with registered investment advisor or registered stockbroker. This production by IBN is not purported to be a complete study of the featured company or other companies mentioned. Information used in statements of fact have been obtained from featured companies and other sources, but not verified nor guaranteed by IBN as to completeness and accuracy. Such information is subject to change without notice. Please read IBN's entire disclaimers and disclosures at IBN AI. Thank you again for listening to this audio press release powered by IBN.